Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Your English Teacher. I am Ritu Bhandari, and today we are going to study the poem A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. John Keats was an English romantic poet. He was one of the main figures of the second generation of romantic poets, along with Lord Byron and Percy B. Shelley. Despite his works having been published for only 3 years before his death from tuberculosis at the age of 25. So he died in 1795 in London, and he became a licensed apothecary, but he never practiced his profession. Instead, he decided to write poetry. In July 1820, he published his third and best volume of poetry, Lamia Isabella, The Eve of Saint Agnes, and other poems. Thing of Beauty talks about an excerpt from his poem Endymion, a poetic romance. The poem is based on a Greek legend in which Endymion, a beautiful young shepherd and poet who lived on Mount Latmos, had a vision of Cynthia, the moon goddess. The enchanted youth resolved to seek her out, and so wandered away through the forest and down under the sea. I am not going to give a direct explanation of the poem at the very beginning. We are going to recite the poem and try to understand what does it want to convey. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bar quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams and healthy and quiet breathing. Therefore, on every morrow, are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to earth? Spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways made for our searching, yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits, such the moon, the sun, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon, for some simple sheep, and such are daffodils, with the green world they live in, and the clear rills, that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season, the mid-forest brake, rich with the sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. All lovely tales that we have heard or read, and endless fountain of immortal drink, pouring unto us from the heavens' brink. So I give you a minute to think about what does this poem talk about. As we've read it, we'll realize it talks about a thing of beauty that continues to inspire us no matter how much time has passed. Its loveliness would increase with the passage of time. How a thing of beauty may vary for one person to another person. For a thing of beauty would always remain important and a source of inspiration for the beholder. So here, if we look at the poem, Keats has talked about things of beauty basically from nature. But as a teacher, as a student, as a person who's reading this poem, one would understand anything can be a thing of beauty. It could be even something that I treasure. It could be something that gives me inspiration. So when the grandeur of the dooms refer to the burial area. So when the grandeur of the dooms also can be a source of inspiration, why can't any inanimate object also be a source of inspiration? So it's like saying, suppose a particular pen has been given to me by my father. It becomes a source of inspiration for me. So students, once we have read the whole poem, I'm sure you must have allowed the meaning of that poem to sink in. It must have touched your soul. Once you read it very calmly, once you try to understand each and every word that Keats wants to say, you'll realize that no doubt this is one of the most widely read poems by John Keats, apart from the Ode to the Grecian Urn. Those who would be interested to find out more, they might go and Google and might go and visit maybe a library to find out what all other poems has he written. So now we're going to look at the poem in detail. I'm reading the first 3 lines and I hope you'll also understand it as I explain it. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness. A thing of beauty is always a source of inspiration. No matter how many years may have passed by, but that thing of beauty continues to inspire many. It will never ever fall into oblivion. It will never ever lose its charm. It will never ever lose its importance. And what does it do? It will keep a bar quiet for us. A bar is a shade. And when a shade, what does a shade do? It gives us relief from the scorching heat. So a thing of beauty is going to give us relief from any kind of stress that envelops up at some point of time in our life. Once we look at that thing of beauty, we tend to revive ourselves and start to believe in ourselves again. So a thing of beauty over here, Keats is referring to more of things of beauty related to nature. And if you as children understand, you'll realize that once you look at the meaning of this poem, you'll realize how relevant it is that why do we tend to go for breaks in between? Why do we want to go for a vacation, go to the hills, go to the, say the beaches, go to the valleys? What's the reason behind that? Because in our stressful life, we at times need a break. And those small trips to these beautiful places get us back on track, get us back motivated, get us back even stronger. So what does it do? It keeps a bar quiet for us. Apart from that, a thing of beauty also allows us to sleep, a healthy sleep. A healthy sleep means we'll have sweet dreams, we'll breathe well, and we'll also be healthy. And that's why he says, is that the reason why? Therefore, on every morrow, he's questioning, is that the reason why man is trying to reading, is always trying to bind, is always trying to connect, is always trying to remain linked to things of beauty on earth. So is that the reason why? The reason further he says, because a thing of beauty despite despondence, that is sadness, despite inhuman dearth of noble natures, that means in spite of the scarcity of people with moral values, the scarcity of people with noble natures, despite the fact of sad days, despite the fact of unhealthy and over-darkened ways, that means people who resort to crooked ways of fulfilling their wishes. In spite of all that, is that the reason why we search? Yes, do we search for that thing of beauty, because it always removes away the pall, the sadness, the gloominess from our dark spirits. So is that the way, why, the reason why we are always reading, we are always trying to connect, we are always trying to link ourselves with things of beauty on earth, because they help in removing away a number of things. And over here, he says 4 of them, say despondence, say inhuman earth of people, inhuman dearth of people with noble natures, dearth of scarcity of people with noble natures, despite the fact we have gloomy days, despite the fact they are in unhealthy and over-darkened ways, despite all this, there's a thing of beauty that continues to inspire us. Keats in this poem is going to talk more about things of beauty from nature. And he, in a way, lists around 10 things of beauty that continue to be a source of inspiration. What are those things of beauty according to him? He says it's the sun, it's the moon, it's the trees, old and young, that give a shady boon. A shady boon means shade, a relief from the scorching heat. And even the simple sheep that are seen grazing in the valleys. Then there are daffodils, then the daffodils and the green forest they live in. Then he also talks about clear rills. Clear rills refer to clear water streams that are flowing in the mid-forest. Right in the scorching heat, while you're traveling in the forest, if you come across a thin, clear water stream, won't you be inspired to stop for a minute, refresh yourselves, and then move ahead? So that clear rills also becomes a thing of beauty because it creates a cooling covert, a cool area where one can relax and be motivated. Then he talks about the mid-forest break. The mid-forest break refers to low-lying bushes in the middle of the forest, which are all sprinkled with fair musk rose blooms. So you need to understand the imagery that should come before you, that should unfold before you. You have to understand what beauty it must have been, a sight of musk rose blooms on low-lying bushes. And the fragrance, you must be able to feel and smell the fragrance and take in that scenic beauty. So that also becomes a thing of beauty because it inspires one to continue with his journey in the forest. So he also finds, a very weird for some, he also finds people deriving inspiration from the grandeur of the domes. Grandeur comes from the majesty, the royalty, the majestic area where the mighty dead are buried. How does that burial place of the mighty dead become a thing of beauty? It becomes a thing of beauty because once you go there, you're inspired. You talk about the tales and the stories and of valor of these brave men. And therefore, that grandeur of the domes becomes a thing of beauty as well. Because a thing of beauty is supposed to inspire one. A thing of beauty is supposed to motivate one. So once you visit this place, it becomes a thing of beauty. I would like to give an example of, say, Amar Jyoti here, or a visit to India Gate, where all the names of the brave men have been carved on that stone. Once you reach these places, you recall all the deeds of bravery and valor that these people had been engaged in before they laid their lives for their motherland. So that place becomes a thing of beauty for them. It becomes a source of inspiration for them. Then Keats also says that it's heaven that is pouring innumerable number of things of beauty on earth. Heaven is like a cup, the imagery of a cup. Heaven's brink. So it seems the cup is overflowing with things of beauty. So it's a simple expression. The image that comes to your mind must be of heaven showering earth with things of beauty, and it's up to man to identify those. It's up to man to identify those things of beauty and gain some inspiration from them. So I hope students you were able to understand the poem, and definitely I look forward to you visiting my channel again, where we'll be talking about the next poem, that is Keeping Quiet. So see you till then. Bye bye.